Rolling.
All right.
Hi, my name is Sasha Igdalova. I graduated class of 2014, major visual studies, sector A, philosophy and science of seeing. And I'm here to talk to you about my senior thesis project. For my senior thesis, I decided to combine my love of art and my love of science by studying the shapes, the cross-cultural symbols which are known as mandalas. Mandalas were first discovered in the Eastern tradition with Buddhist mandalas, but as my research and as other people's research have shown, mandalas as a shape occur in many different cultures all over the world. They're basically used in the same manner by different cultures. They represent the macrocosm of the universe and a microcosm of a pictorial symbol, and by interacting with this symbol, whether by drawing it or by contemplating it, you are engaging with the universe, the individual engaging with the greater. And so I, in my thesis, was interested in understanding why this symbol was so pervasive and its meaning and its usage was so pervasive across such different time periods and such different areas of the world, going from 12th century medieval England to modern South American practices with ayahuasca and practices to the Shipibo-Canobo peoples in modern day South America. So as I began to delve into the universal nature of this symbol, I discovered the works of Carl Jung, the Swiss psychologist, and he was actually the first person who brought the mandala into the Western foreground of thinking, who took it from the Eastern tradition and exposed it as this cross-cultural symbol. But in my thesis, I explore how Jung's interpretation of the mandala was used primarily to support his idea of the collective unconscious. And so he claimed that because the mandala occurred both in his patients' drawings when they were undergoing emotional distress and also throughout all of the different cultures that he studied, that the mandala was the ultimate symbol of the archetype of the psyche. I decided to follow a similar path to what he did, looking into the human mind, but instead of into the human unconscious, I wanted to delve into the human brain. So I'm suggesting in my project that the commonalities that arise in the drawings of all these different peoples occurs as a result of a tendency towards geometry in the human brain. This tendency displays itself most clearly in the form of geometric hallucinations known as form constants, which are phenomenal experiences that arise as a result of abnormal sensory states. The pervasive nature of this type of representational image across all different time periods and peoples has evoked much curiosity among theologians, philosophers, and scientists alike, but most of these curiosities have been restricted to studying only the Eastern tradition. Mandala studies actually gained popularity in the Western tradition through the work of the Swiss psychologist Carl Jung, who studied the mandala as a way of proving his theory of the collective unconscious, citing both his observations of the mandala as a therapeutic healing device for his patients, as well as its cross-cultural presence. He maintained that the mandala was the ultimate symbol of the archetype of the unconscious because of mainly the alchemical imagery that he traced throughout all of it, claiming the circle as one of them, but also focusing on other images. Because of this, modern scholarship has refuted a lot of his claims, saying that you can't rely on just alchemical interpretations. So my goal with this project is to return to Jung's original question and strip away all of that imagery and focus instead on the skeleton of the mandala, the circle itself. And so as a part of my thesis project, halfway through the year, I applied for the Kerf Alumni Society research grant, in which I asked for money to buy materials to do my project. And the main thing that I wanted to buy were these glasses. They're called Laxman Pro hallucination glasses, well, mind meditation glasses. But the way that they work is they use lights of different hues and various brightness and different contrast intensity of how they flash, how fast they flash, to stimulate geometric hallucinations in the viewer. And so basically what I was trying to do with this was mimic the kind of state that somebody would be in if they were to take a drug like the South American people did, or if they were to enter into a deep state of meditation. And in the end, what the person is supposed to see who puts on these glasses is supposed to be of the similar experience to what those people would see, and then what would then be translated into a mandala. And actually at the end of my end of the year thesis exhibition, when I presented the glasses, I had a book where everybody drew what they saw, and almost all of the shapes corresponded to the mandalas that were on the wall. So in that it was successful. So in the last part of my paper, I discuss how in all of these different cultures, whether it be Tibetan deep meditation or the Huichol people or Shipibo-Canobo people's use of ayahuasca and peyote drug-induced ceremonies to induce these hallucinations, an abnormal sensory state is reached. And when the sensory state is reached, the brain naturally reverts back to its geometry, and so a circular shape is seen, which then gets translated into the form that gets passed on from generation to generation, resulting in what we now know as the universal mandala. Upon reflection on my thesis experience, this project was one of the most fun things I did in all of college and one of the most useful and challenging. And I really look forward to a future in which I can continue to combine the two things that I love. And I will always have my thesis project to look back on and keep me going.